So we're going to do some more talking about this correctional officer videos. I've been making a lot of correctional officer videos, especially for my people that's getting into corrections. You going through the hiring process. You finally got hired maybe, and you about to go to the academy. So I got to keep dropping game on to y'all. If you're going through the hiring process, the best advice I can give you is you got to always stay on top of everything, bro. Some people ask me, how long is it going to take before I get a call back? I don't know. I really don't know. It's different for every agency, bro. It could be a couple of weeks. It could be a few weeks. It could be a month or two. It just doesn't, it's like I don't have a crystal ball. You feel me? You got to keep calling back every other week or so. Shoot them an email. If you haven't heard anything back at all, go up to the prison or the jail that you're trying to apply to. Stand out in the lobby. Ask, can you speak to the recruiter or somebody from Human Resources? Tell them you just trying to drop your resume off or you want to inquire about the job. That's what I would do. I'm not the type of person to sit back, especially when I want something. I wanted the job. When I was working in corrections at the county jail, and I was trying to get on and go BOP, man, I was hungry for the job. I was like, they knew my name from a first and last name basis. I called up there so much. I was seeing the email. They knew exactly who I was when it came time for them to finally call me and give me my start date and give me the offer. Ask me, do I want the job? That's how much I was invested into getting the job. That's how you got to be if you really want it. If you about to go to the academy, the best advice I can give you, man, is to prepare now. A lot of agencies, they wait a few months before they send you off to the academy. So you got plenty time to prepare for the physical part. You might have to run, do a certain amount of push-ups, sit-ups. You might have to do a dummy drag, obstacle courses. You may have to get sprayed with the OC. You may have to get tasered. That's a requirement in order for you to carry these things inside the jails and prisons. So you got to prepare now. The test, when it comes to the written test, a lot of it, man, I'm not even going to lie to you. A lot of it is common sense. And if you don't know it already, the teacher or instructor, they go over it in the class. Y'all going to have class every day during the week. You probably be in the classroom setting, and they're going to be going over the policy, procedures, the history of corrections. And there might come a time during the class where the professor is like, you might want to know this for the test. So when they say that, I think back to when I was in high school and college. My high school teachers, my college professors did the same thing. Right before we was about to have a test, they would say stuff like that. You know what's going to be on the test. So you need to highlight that, underline it with your pen, and study that. Study throughout the week. The night before the test, study a couple more hours. When you go into the classroom before the test, study maybe 15, 20 more minutes. Boom, you're going to pass the test, bro. It was nothing hard about the two academies that I went through. I went through an academy for the county jail. I went through one for the BOP, bro. Neither one of them were difficult to me. Like I say, an average person at best can pass these academies, bro. You just got to be prepared, be halfway in decent shape, have some common sense, and you're golden. You're in there, bro. What's some other things? As far as dealing with inmates, as a rookie, they're going to test you. They going to push all kind of buttons. They trying to fill you out. They trying to size you up. They never seen you before. You never been in there. Even if you came from another institution or another agency and you got on maybe with the feds, you went state to fed, you working at the fed prison now, they still never seen you. They don't know that you worked 10 years state correction. And it's a lot of different policies that change from the state to the feds. Everybody's policies and procedures are different. What the inmates can have and can't have. They're going to test you. They're going to try to push all your buttons. They're going to try to get around, circumvent policy and procedure. You just got to remember your training at the end of the day. You got to remember what the training that you were provided and taught in the academy, what the veteran officers are telling you. Don't listen. Don't go in there and not listen to the veteran officer thinking you know everything. That's the quickest way to get hemmed up, to get yourself in a trick bag, to put yourself in a dangerous situation, bro. Listen to the people that's been at that prison. They know how things go. They know how the policy and procedure plays out, and you're going to be good, bro. As far as working by yourself on the floor for the first time, you're going to be nervous. It's natural to be scared, to be nervous, to think the inmates might jump on you at any minute. That's good. That's what you want, honestly, bro, because it's going to keep you on edge. It's going to keep you alert, and it's going to keep you on your toes. Every day I go to work, I'm always on alert. You know, I'm always a little bit nervous. Every day I go behind there because I never know what can happen. And I've been doing corrections 14 years now. I've worked at 3 different prisons. You know, I've seen a lot of stuff. I've come across all types of inmates from all custody levels, all the way down from minimal security all the way up to maximum security. I've dealt with them all. I've seen all kind of tricky, scary situations, you know, and you're going to go through stuff. You're going to see a lot of crazy shit working in corrections, you know, and you deal with it. You remember your training, you deal with the situation or the emergency that occurs, and then you move on. You got to be able to move on. You know, you're going to have arguments sometimes with inmates. You're going to have inmates try to assault you, possibly call you outside your name. They might try to throw feces, urine on you. You know, all kind of potential dangers and shit that's going to go down in corrections. But when you leave out that sally port, as long as you left out that sally port in one piece, you know what I'm saying? It's a new day. It's a new day. That's always been my motto. No matter how bad my day was, the next day is a new day. I got to be able to move forward. I got to have thick skin. You know, I could have had a whole verbal altercation with an inmate on my unit the day before. I'm going to see that same inmate tomorrow, you know, and I got to be business as usual. I can't take that with me, what happened yesterday, into the new day. You know, you got to be a professional. We train professionals. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn how to see past a lot of stuff. You're going to deal with co-worker disputes, probably. You're going to deal with drama, gossip, rumor mills sometimes. A lot of times, man, it don't even be the inmates when you working in this type of field. It be your co-workers that be bringing up drama, you know, starting rumors and shit about you, bro. Once you can get past all that, bro, I look at it like that's high school shit, bro. I don't even be thinking about that type of stuff, man. I'm there to get my money, do my job, and go home, bro. And that's it, bro. That's why you got to have a life outside of corrections, too. I stress that a lot in my videos. Always have a life outside of this shit, bro. Learn how to separate your personal life from your work life. Don't never bring your work life into your personal life, bro. That's why I stopped going to a lot of them co-worker events and functions, bro, because I used to go, you know, like the holiday parties and shit, retirement celebration. I get in there, and it'd be people in there, they always want to talk about some shit that happened at work. I'm like, bro, I don't want to be talking about that 24/7, bro. That damn jail, prison, I love, you know, it's been good to me. That's my job. That's my bread and butter. But it's going to be there when I get back. It's not going to burn down if it ain't in my head 24/7. Don't let your job live rent-free in your head, bro. Have a life outside of your 9 to 5. You feel me? You're going to have stuff like whatever you like to do for real. You know me, I like to go to the gym, go out to eat, travel. You know what I'm saying? I don't even be thinking about work unless I'm doing these videos. Otherwise, I don't be talking about corrections 24/7, or it's like that's my identity. You know, I see some people, it's like they want to be in correctional officer mode 24/7. It's like, damn, bro, like, do you have a life outside of work? Always have a life outside of work. Lastly, man, always stack and save as much as you can in your retirement account. That's a big one right there, bro. I tell all the rookies, people coming in, put as much as you can in your retirement. Get life insurance. Get the best health care insurance coverage that you can that your job offers, bro, because you got to protect yourself on the back end. You got to protect yourself in the long run. If you don't save your money, you wasn't smart with your money on the back end, you going to look up when it comes time to retire. You ain't going to be able to retire. You going to have to go get another job at Walmart, being a Walmart greeter or some shit that you don't want to do because you wasn't playing this smart over the years, bro. The money that you make in corrections, I done plenty videos on, it's enough to provide you a good life once you retire, once you make it to the finish line. I still keep in touch with quite a few people that worked at my prison and retired. A lot of them doing good. Some of them said they make more money from their retirement, pension, any other money they got coming in, you know, from their sources of income. They make more money, you know, at sitting at the crib than they was going to work, bro. So that tells me everything I need to know. I'm going to stack. I'm going to stick to the plan. I'm going to stay consistent, bro. I'm going to stay in my lane, do the job to the best of my ability, and keep moving. Y'all like this video, though, man? Make sure y'all tap in to my other videos. I got over 1,000 videos, bro, talking about corrections. If you, you know, into the gym, I got a lot of fitness, gym, workout videos. I've been doing this 20 years, you know, working out. I got life hack videos. I'm starting to do one-on-one coaching calls. If you want to get me on the phone anytime, pick my brain, ask me specific questions. I got the email in my bio for that. You know, I got the merchandise for sale. Keep the fluff, keep the hustle. What we got on this t-shirt? What t-shirt? Oh, yeah. No pain. No pain, just gains. I got all kind of hoodies, t-shirts for sale on my website. Y'all got any input, thoughts, comments on this video? Make sure y'all drop that comment, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. Y'all know how we coming. Let's get motivated. Boom!